Well, good morning again to everybody.
Good morning.
It's really glad to see everyone coming to the Suffolk Workforce Development Center. We're so happy to have you today. We have a lot of very interesting individuals that come to congratulate us on our 10 years. So I haven't been here 10 years. My name is Larry Brunson. I'm the new coordinator. Been here for a little over a year and a half. I rolled into the spot that was made for me through Michelle Lectera, who's kind of carried the ball for nearly 10 years. So I'm very thankful. Let's give her a hand. It's just amazing to me that I can come from North Carolina by way of the Virginia Community College system and then end up in Suffolk. I'm from Hampton Roads. I love doing what I do, and as a workforce professional, I'm sure those that are out there doing the same thing love what they do. And this is the reason why we're here today, because we want to celebrate what we have done as a center, but also what our partners together have done with us. We provide services for citizens, we provide services for students, veterans, provide services for those that have barriers, that they may better equip themselves to live a productive life. And that's one of the main goals, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure the mayor can talk about that with the city. One of the main missions of the city is to enable those that have barriers, that they will live a productive life and learn more, get more out of life, enjoy life, and be successful and self-sufficient. So with that said, I want to say welcome again to the Suffolk Workforce Development Center. We're glad to have you here. We want you to enjoy the food that we have, the beverages. Make sure you walk around. We have a resource fair outside and the other two rooms. And you can go and look at some of the partners that partner with us and make things happen. I'm very thankful that we have Avery with us today, who is an integral part of our entire region in terms of workforce. It's the Hampton Roads number 16 that carries from Chesapeake to Southampton County. And so it's a large area, but guess what? We're making it happen. So thank you for being here today. And then let me give you some other instructions as well before we get started. If you have to excuse yourself to take care of some situation that we can't take care of for you, you'll go outside this door to your right, and there's two bathrooms. One says male, one says female, and you take the appropriate one. And with that said, I'd like to introduce to you our mayor, the Honorable Linda T. Johnson. She's a mayor. You can read her bio. She's was elected to Suffolk City Council in 2000. She represents the Sleepy Hole Borough for 2 terms and became Suffolk's first female mayor on July 5th, 2006. Let's give her a hand.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First of all, on behalf of the Suffolk City Council and as their mayor, and also for all the citizens in the city of Suffolk, I say welcome this morning, and I say thank you, because what this center has done is truly amazing. And I have to say, to be here for the 10th anniversary is really, really fun for me, because I remember 10 years ago, and I remember it very well. I remember traveling with the governor and going to the Workforce Development Center in Danville and looking at all these things, and I got to sit on the Workforce Council. And every time I would go somewhere and every time the governors would speak, guess what? It was talking about Suffolk and the Workforce Center that we had developed. And I was super proud of what we had done. So today, to tell you 10 years later, the many, many people that have walked through this center and the places they have gone because of this center, it just gives me immense pride to be here with you this morning. I'm so delighted to mark this anniversary because, truly it is a party. We're having a party this morning. And the reason is because of all the people that you have helped. Everybody that's walked through this door, sometimes more than once, and the people that they have called, and they've all benefited in some way. And as we were just talking a little bit earlier about this, workforce is truly the center or the heart of your community, because we talk about economic development. What do we want everyone to do? We want them to be gainfully employed. We want jobs. How do we get those jobs? Through education, through training. So how do we mirror it together? The workforce. So this is the piece that really makes it all come together and makes our city a better place to live. And I'll just add the one thing, yes, we want everyone to work and have those great jobs, but don't we all want our kids to live in Suffolk? Don't we all want them to stay here and be with us? So we want the opportunities here. And we want to make sure that as people do branch out in the world, that we can say that we truly prepared them for whatever was to come. So with all of that, here are a few of the things that you do every day in here. You help to prepare someone for a GED, their resume, career counseling, job searches. Yes, somebody might even help you with, what do I wear to my interview? What do I say? How do I approach this? And one of the things that I've worked really hard with and that I see is, especially in the world of women today, we have to make sure that women are self-confident and know how to move forward with what they're doing, as well as men, of course. But I just think men are a little bit ahead there in that point, so we have to work very hard on that. It's so appreciated what you do, the coaching, the mentoring, just the kind words in the hall, that you can do this, the attaboy. Those are the things that people just wait to hear. Those are the things that they hang on and say, yes, I can do this because I remember that person said that this morning. There's nothing more important than lifting someone up. And I think we can all do that in our own way. So this center is a culmination of that. And I'm just super proud of everything you do. It's a pathway for people to choose a life. And sometimes people just don't know where to go. But when you say Workforce Center, they go, that's where I'll start. That's where I'll go and see what's there. It might be just looking at jobs. I also thank the center for taking the other side of the coin with the businesses, understanding what they need, going and asking them what they need. What are the skills you're looking for to make your business a success? And once we know that, guess what? We can mirror those two together and we have gainfully employed people, we have successful businesses. We have people in this room today that are successful, and I'm looking at one right here, right now. Antoine, stand up. This man runs a nonprofit organization, and guess where he started? Right here. It's a great story. So this morning is about a party. It is about 10 years of success. It's about all of the support we've had from the governor's office over the years, because it takes everyone to make this work. But it's also about the individuals here working every single day, all of our partners, because we have a lot of people that come in here and volunteer and help on a daily basis. Any little piece that makes that person feel valued, makes them feel that they can give back, makes them feel that, yeah, they can earn a living. All of that is what makes a person really, really proud. And we want everybody to feel so proud of who they are, so proud of where we are. And so what do? We just keep on lifting up people here. And this is 10 years of that. And I think it's just a really, really great story. Economic development, we always talk about it. We have to have it in the city. It has to work. How does it work? It works by being able, again, to mirror and match the jobs with the people. That's what this center means. That's what it's all about. It's really all about people. And so I'm here this morning because this is something that's near to my heart. I've watched it grow. I've watched all of the results throughout our city and beyond. And it's not just Suffolk either. The other people come in here too. We have so much to offer. And it really we're going to be a workforce to be reckoned with. We're going to showcase and we're going to work hard because we have a lot of people with a lot to give. And with this center bringing it out and pulling it together, we're just going to be more and more successful every day. So happy 10th anniversary. I look forward to the 20th anniversary. And I just am so proud of each and every one of you that have worked to make this day and also this center what it is. So thank you, and it's a privilege to be here this morning.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson, for those warm remarks. And the one thing I got out of that speech today was the Workforce Center, the Suffolk Workforce Center, is a force to be reckoned with. We are expanding our borders. We're not afraid to go forward. We're not afraid to be innovative and try new things and cross barriers that maybe someone else say we shouldn't. We're here to do what? Serve people and allow people to get the best out of life, the best out of their families. Is that right? Now I'd like to acknowledge and introduce a really good friend of mine who I've worked with over 4 years in workforce at Paul D. Camp Community College, and now she's with the Virginia Community College System. And her name is Angela Lawholm. She's an awesome, awesome, awesome person to work with. And I'm just glad that you accepted our invitation to come.
Thank you. All right, now he really boasted me up. I got to keep up with that. And then follow behind the mayor's speech, so that's something else. Thank you so much, Larry. And I will say Larry is in the perfect position. He is such an innovative leader, and I can see some fantastic new things growing through the Suffolk Workforce Center. I started working with the Suffolk Workforce Center when I was with the Virginia Employment Commission about 8 years ago. We closed the Meade Parkway location, and Michelle Latera invited the VEC into the Workforce Center, which is the perfect opportunity to present a one-stop service. So if someone comes in and they need help or need resources or assistance, you don't have to turn them away or send them down the street. You have everything right here, which is just the best thing for a community and for our workforce. Also, there have been great partnerships with the community colleges. They also invited us in and let Paul D. Camp's coaches come in and work out of the Workforce Center and provide services here where the people are. So we are very fortunate to have that collaboration partnership, and I look forward to more in the future. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Angela. One of the things Angela did not mention, she has a big title, so I won't say the whole title, but she is a project director for the SNAP-at project, a grant now, of which Suffolk is a part of that. And what that really entails is that for the first time, persons that are receiving SNAP benefits are now targeted to be assessed and also have an opportunity for some intensive services that can lead them to industry credentials, getting their GED, going on to secondary school if that works out. And Suffolk Department of Social Services, under the leadership of our own director, Aziz Felder, and our employment specialist supervisor, Danielle Williams. Is that right? She's in the back. We all kind of work together. And if you haven't heard about the grant, come by the Workforce Center and we can tell you all about it. You certainly can go down to the Department of Social Services and get information at will. Is that all right? I've been here, again, a little over a year and a half, and since that time, one of the goals I've had was to put us on the path to be a certified one-stop. So we're in the process of that. We're working with our own WIB and hoping that we can obtain that sooner or later or thereabouts. But in the process of that, one of the things that we did, we became a certified testing site for ACT or the work keys. So we are now able to proctor the work keys for citizens, for businesses, and also for those job seekers. In addition to that, we became one of the first academic partners with Virginia Manufacturers Association through the Manufacturing Skill Institute. And so at this time, Vanessa Rasberger, Director of Workforce Solutions with Manufacturing Skill Institute, is coming at this time.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, good morning. Vanessa. Oh, that's good. I work with the Manufacturing Skills Institute, which is the workforce affiliate of the Virginia Manufacturers Association, representing the over 5,000 manufacturers in Virginia. MSI's mission is to close not only the skills gaps, but also the interest gaps in advanced technology industries such as modern manufacturing. MSI has expanded across the United States. We're now in 10 states with over 100 partners. And what we like to tell still is the Virginia story. All across the country, we're telling everyone what Virginia is doing here, where we started. And it's a great time to be in Virginia. That's definitely for sure. Virginia is leading the way in increasing access to industry credentials, and we're setting a national benchmark. We're not only increasing the quantity of the workforce, but the quality of the workforce. And we're helping Virginians have high wage, high demand, and high reward careers. Suffolk Workforce Development Center is very forward thinking, and it's definitely a big part of that. Like you mentioned, Larry, you actually are the first one-stop center in the country to become an MSI authorized assessment center, and you are increasing access to industry credentials. So that's pretty big. So we've got you guys named as, and there'll be many to follow across the country. So you guys are setting a benchmark. We know that credentials lead to success for job seekers and for businesses. We polled the VMA membership and asked them what does it mean to them if someone has a credential. They said that they're valuable. If someone has a credential, it means they have foundational and baseline skills. They're coachable, they're trainable, they're determined, and people with credentials, they know something and they don't give up. So that's what our manufacturers are saying when someone comes to them with a credential. Also wanted to point out, if you look around the One Stop Center when you do a tour, the center has also adopted our Dream It, Do It Virginia campaign. So the toolkit of Dream It, Do It Virginia is our marketing campaign. So what do? This is all designed around changing images and perceptions of modern manufacturing. We also have our Business Involved Career Information Center, Dream It, Do It Virginia, and our experiential summer camps. So all of those things in the toolkit are also being adopted by the center, and again, that's trying to address or attack the interest gap. We know that we need folks to get interested in certain careers, and then we're trying to train them so that they can live productive lives, great lives. So congratulations on your 10-year anniversary. Thank you for being here. You truly are changing the lives of Virginians. So thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa, for those remarks. And again, the Workforce Center is here to work with the VMA and Manufacturing Skill Institute in terms of helping people get those credentials they need so they can be on a better way of life. So thank you very much for coming. And at this time, a new person in the room to most, but certainly he came by my office, took off his tie, and stayed with me for 3 hours to try to hash out and talk about what could Paul D. Camp Community College do in the city of Suffolk and the surrounding areas to make it better for those that they serve. And he literally just poured out his heart. He showed me not only that he's a president, but he's a person with a big heart to change the lives of people. So I'm very, very glad to introduce to you Dr. Daniel Lufkin, President, Paul D. Camp Community College.
Thank you, Larry. I'm going to keep the tie on today, and I've also been told that I have 2 short minutes, so I had to prepare a few remarks to stay within that time frame. But I really am delighted to be here for this special occasion this morning and to be a part of it. You know, throughout the years, Paul D. Camp Community College has shared a very good partnership with the center. And this collaboration has allowed us to conduct a variety of programs that services the needs of the community. Such as our open enrollment computer training, real estate training, customized corporate training, as well as work keys assessment for business and industry. And as the mayor alluded to, you know, it's just beyond the partnership with Paul D. Camp, the Workforce Center has been integral to the success of local businesses, industry, and community by addressing the needs of the workforce through innovative programs and offering quality educational opportunities for its citizens. And for that, I think we're all grateful. I would like to not only thank Larry for his continued partnership with the college, but to congratulate the center on a decade of excellence in serving the community. We look forward to what's in store for the next 10 years. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Dr. Lumpkin. One of the things he didn't mention in our conversation, but I will, it's official but unofficial. We talked about having, designing a program here in the center that would lead to an industry credential for the students. And one of the barriers that we have to education and training is transportation. And in the city of Suffolk, there is a little transportation modes. Needless to say, the clientele that the school would serve can afford transportation. So an answer to that would be officially but unofficially having a program here that will lead to industry credential driven by Paul D. Camp. So we're looking forward to work with you on that. So we can clap, that's good. Now it gives me great privilege to introduce Sean Avery, President and CEO of Opportunity Inc. Opportunity Inc., I am their biggest waving fan. I came in contact with Opportunity Inc. through the TAC grant through Paul D. Camp Community College, and I've worked very closely with their career developers established a relationship, Miss English in the back, and a few others. And I can tell you that Opportunity Inc., if you don't know, is delivering great services and allowing people that may not have the opportunity financially in some areas to achieve their dream. So for that, we're thankful. Thank you for your leadership. So with no further ado, we're going to introduce to you Mr. Sean Avery. By the way, he sings karaoke at the
You're not supposed to.
at the higher ed conference.
Larry, I thought I told you what happens at the homestead stays at the homestead. Oh, gosh. Thank you for this opportunity, Larry. I really do appreciate it. And again, I'm Opportunity Inc., and for those who don't know, we're the workforce development organization for the region. We represent all the way out to Virginia Beach, all the way up to Franklin, Southampton, about the size of a small state. And what we do would not be possible without partners like the City of Suffolk and Larry and what we're doing here. Last year alone, we served over 10,000 individuals on a one-time basis through our one-stop system. We worked with over 2,500 businesses, and that would not be possible without our network of one-stop locations, of which the Workforce Development Center is dead smack in the middle of our region, and it's one of our key partners. It really has been a great opportunity for us to be one of those listed partners, and we look forward to continuing to strengthen that partnership as we go forward. I know my staff enjoys coming out here and working with your team because it is a great environment and everybody comes together and they're around one common mission, and that's really to make sure that we have a viable workforce in this region to meet when Kevin's out talking to businesses, make sure that we've got the talent that the businesses here in Suffolk and in the region need to be successful. So again, congratulations, Larry, congratulations, Mayor, on a great center here, and we look forward to continuing to be a great partner in that. Okay. And everybody talking about the homestead.
Just want to make an announcement, make sure this person is here. John Newby, the Commissioner of Veteran Services, is running a little late, but he's certainly giving his support. But we're not going to delay the program any further. I want to introduce to you Elizabeth Kramer, Advisor for Workforce Development, Secretary of Commerce and Trade, Office of the Governor Terry McCullough. Before she comes, though, I have to say this because I first met Ms. Kramer about 4 years ago, and she was up at the higher ed conference talking. And she was pouring out her heart about workforce, but she also talked about her family. She talked about the struggles they had, the struggles that she had. This is a person, if you don't know her, she's a real person. And when she finished speaking, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. She understands the needs of rural citizens and rural counties. She understands and has a passion for workforce and helping people get ahead and achieve those credentials. She's worked hard. And so without further ado, someone who I admire immensely, Miss Elizabeth Kramer.
Wow, Mr. Brunson, that was quite an introduction. I'm afraid he may have caught me on one of my better days, but I will try. I am Elizabeth Kramer. It's a great honor to be with you here today, and a great honor to be representing Governor McAuliffe, whose middle name is Workforce Development. I've been in workforce development about 15 years, and I've never seen a time so rich in possibility for workforce development professionals and the customers, both business and job seekers, that we serve. All the stars are surely aligned. The governor's full support for workforce development, the strength of the Virginia Community College system in workforce development, the increasing attention to workforce credentials, which I'll be talking about a little bit today, the strength of our workforce development boards and new federal legislation that's going to help us to make our workforce system even more effective, and private organizations like the Virginia Manufacturers Association, who are working with the public sector hand in glove to drive credentials that count for jobs and business growth. I want to say I've been very humbled. When I talked to Larry prior to coming here, and he told me he has a 3-person organization with a lot of partners, I am incredibly moved by what the power of partnership has done for the Suffolk Workforce Development Center. Last quarter, you saw 3,654 individuals, providing them with job assistance, education, and training. That is a staggering testimony to the power of partnership. And Larry told me many, many different initiatives and partnerships with which the center is involved, all of them impressive. But I immediately latched on to one, not because it's better than the others, but because there's a personal connection. And Larry practically dared me to tell a personal story, so I'll tell a little bit of one. In collaboration with Paul DeCamp Community College, I understand that the center sponsored a 160-hour fast-track marine welding class. And 88% of the participants, 160 hours, that's about 4 weeks of full-time work. 88% of the participants successfully completed the class, and as of now, I believe 57% are employed. This struck a chord with me because that type of workforce training experience is really the centerpiece of Governor McAuliffe's agenda, and because in addition to being Governor McAuliffe's workforce development advisor, I am also a mother and grandmother. So I'm interested in workforce development from a state policy perspective. I'm also intensely interested in workforce development because I'm watching careers unfold of 3 daughters, 3 sons-in-law, and 5 grandchildren. And one of them, I had 2 daughters who were high school straight shooters, the kind of students that teachers stop you in the hall and compliment you on having raised this child, right? And then I had one who was a rebel without a cause. No ifs, ands, or buts. She earned 2 grades all through high school. If she liked the teacher, it was an A. If she didn't like the teacher, it was an F. We struggled to get her to high school completion. And this was, this was it really taught me to be humble, because I was a professional by then in the business of education and workforce development. And I couldn't help this young woman find her way. Well, she ended up graduating, but she floated for years. Food service, bartending, the kinds of jobs where you're moving from entry-level minimum wage to entry-level minimum wage, going nowhere. And finally, I sent her incognito to a one-stop career center. No kidding, no kidding. She has a last name that's different than mine, so it genuinely was incognito. And she had always been interested in photography and sculpture, and I had never put together that maybe that could lend itself to something in the trades, that she might have a talent in working with her hands. They did some assessments. They got her in a non-credit welding class, that got her a certification. It also gave her a fire. She ended up saying, I'm going to get into a registered apprenticeship program. She took more certifications. She got in a registered apprenticeship program. It was a very good registered apprenticeship program, one of the best in the country. Simultaneously with her related instruction courses, she was earning community college credits. Now, this is a politically incorrect thing to say, but another side benefit for me as her mother was she started dating men who had a job and a future. Because you meet those kind of men and women in manufacturing, right? So she met this nice young man from West Virginia, son of a coal miner, one of six children. He was a pipe fitter. He was doing the community college and related instruction and apprenticeship. They ended up getting married. They have a wonderful life. They have 3 children, and he is 1 semester away from finishing, on the company's dime, his mechanical engineering degree at Old Dominion University. Now, this inspires me because I saw a workforce training class that was 2 weeks long turn into a certification, turn into a registered apprenticeship, turn into a community college degree, turn into a university degree. All the while, 2 people were working towards a degree, raising children, not incurring any student debt. And I thought, this is what we need to build in Virginia. So everything I say about workforce credentials is fueled by that. Let me also say that I do bring to workforce development a particular passion, and I'm profoundly grateful when Mr. Brunson talks about individuals with barriers to employment, late starters, those who need a second or third chance. I had 3 children before I took a college class. I was a very late starter. I ended up getting my bachelor's in my early 30s. I ended up having my first full-time job with benefits when I was in my late 30s. Now I'm in the position I'm in, and the moral to that story that I wake up and take with me every day is it's never too late to start, and don't prejudge that anyone is too old or too burdened with children or responsibilities or a history of failures not to have a successful career. So that's the passion that I bring to my work every day. But you all today have awed me. What you're able to achieve in this center with these partnerships and this staff is incredible. And you are the only ones who can do the work of transforming lives. I can help with policy, I can help with budget. I cannot touch an individual and change their lives in the profoundly transformative way you can, and I thank you for that. Now, I've got about 5 minutes, so let me go on to talk to you. What?
Somebody show up, you have a few extra.
Oh, you're wanting me now to take time. What is this all about? It's about saving saving individuals like my daughter, job seekers, young people who need a second chance, veterans returning home who need a job, individuals who are leaving incarceration and need to return as full-fledged citizens, individuals with disabilities that are just desperately looking for their first job. It's about saving all those job seekers, but it's also about economic development and business. And that's what I love about workforce development. It's always about economic development and helping to empower individual job seekers. We have 1.5 million new jobs we need to fill in the next decade. Here's the opportunity. 65% of those occupations will be in technician, technologist, trades level jobs. Governor McAuliffe's genius, I think, is that he honed in on that. He said workforce development is all things, beginning with early childhood education, extending to graduate school. It's about all things. But our public workforce dollars we need to put to helping alleviate the challenges that small business owners in particular, but all business owners in advanced manufacturing and energy and IT and cybersecurity, in healthcare, in transportation and logistics. They're saying we've got to have more skilled trade workers. We've got to have more technicians. What can you do about those jobs? For every one job in Virginia that requires a graduate degree, for every 2 jobs in Virginia that require a bachelor's degree, we have 7 jobs open that require an associate degree or some type of workforce credential. And so Governor McAuliffe said to me, he said to my boss, the Secretary of Commerce and Trade, we're going to concentrate on filling the skills gap in those high priority sectors and getting more of these trades and technician workers ready. And we're going to do it by driving workforce credentials. Virginia had long prioritized graduate and baccalaureate level education, as we should. We want to be the best educated state in the country by 2030, and we have a shot at making it. But he wanted to add into that policy emphasis workforce credentials for the first time ever. So he wanted us to have benchmarks for industry certifications, for occupational licenses, for registered apprenticeship credentials, for Associate of Applied Science degrees, those community college degrees that are targeted to specific occupations, for college certificates, such as are offered at our community colleges and proprietary schools. He really wanted to drive those. And so for the first time ever, a governor of Virginia issued an executive order, the New Virginia Economy, and he said, we're going to drive 50,000 of these workforce credentials in high demand areas Every year, we're going to see 50,000 or more of these credentials being produced by our public education and workforce system, and we're going to do it by the end of our administration. I will tell you, in 2 years, with no additional funding, we've been able to see 10,000 more of these credentials being produced by school divisions, community colleges, through partnerships with Department of Social Services, through workforce development boards, 10,000 more a year. That's real progress, and we've just begun. We are looking for 460,000 of these workforce credentials by 2030. Why? Because that would make us the #1 state in the country for a percentage of population with a workforce credential. Why is that important? We have here someone from economic development, and she can tell you that's a great line to attract business from out of state and out of country. That's a great marketing line for our economic developers to be able to have. So there's many of us, the Virginia Manufacturers Association, the Virginia Community College System, Opportunity Inc., all of you, many of us that want to drive workforce credentials to help economic development in our state. It's even become part of the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia and the Virginia Community College System's multi-year plans. Higher ed is embracing these credentials and saying, yes, they count. Why? Vanessa had said there are advantages our business and industry members tell us of having such a credential. Well, we actually have some national data on that. Credentialed workers are 34%, they earn 34% higher earnings than those without a credential. That has value for the job seekers you're working with. It also makes a job seeker less likely to be unemployed. Those who have an industry certification or a registered apprenticeship or another type of workforce credential are far more likely to be retained in a recession or a downsizing than are those who are not. Nationally, they have lower unemployment rates. So there are advantages to job seekers and there are advantages to companies. They know they have a demonstrated set of skills and they know they're working with an individual who has the drive, the perseverance, the aptitude, and the interest to improve themselves through a credential that's got demonstrated value in the marketplace. With that, the governor took a very bold step and worked in a very bipartisan fashion with the General Assembly. We signed into law in March of 2016 the New Economy Workforce Credentials Act. And one of the advantages to that act is that it put nearly $20 million of much needed funding into expanding the capacity and the availability of workforce training that leads to an industry credential in our community colleges and regional higher education centers. This is a start, and it was an important start. Virginia was underfunding workforce training, underfunding credentials other than degrees, and we needed to try to get some more balance because these are opportunities for the adults you serve who cannot and will not be able to commit to a 2 or 4 year degree. There have got to be options to employment that do not require an adult to sign on for 2 or 3 or 4 years of education with limited opportunities during that period to earn the income they need to be self-sufficient and family sufficient. At the same time, we want these credentials to be stepping stones, not the end, certainly not a dead end, but to be linked to opportunities to earn college credit so that adults, all adults in Virginia who want to access the same kind of stepping stone approach to improving their careers and their lives and their earning powers can do that in the way that my daughter did. So that's one thing the governor has driven. He's so big on credential attainment that he keeps standing up new initiatives, and we're not done yet, new initiatives to try and make it feasible and practical for all different types of Virginians to earn these credentials. We've created a new program to serve incumbent workers Sean Avery and Opportunity Inc. are directly engaged in that pilot, helping small businesses so that we can upskill and credential workers while they're at work. We've stood up a governor's competition for talent solutions that has launched the state's first power line technician training program. Before that, energy companies had to send employees to Georgia for that training. We don't want to send workers to Georgia. We want to be able to deliver all types of trades training here in the Commonwealth. It's launched an asphalt technology training program. It's launched some forestry logging training programs. So we've stood up that. We've also tried to create more incentives to get more companies engaged in registered apprenticeships. Traditionally, registered apprenticeships has appealed to businesses in the manufacturing, transportation, energy sectors, but you didn't see apprentices in cybersecurity positions, in information technology and administrative services. Now we have fiscal incentives for those companies to actually participate, sponsor register apprentices, and will pay the costs of their related instruction. We just stood up, by the way, the first registered apprenticeship in cybersecurity in the country, and that was in Hampton Roads. We're working with our workforce development boards to create workforce development centers like this one that are more customer-centric, more business-focused, more streamlined, and more outcome-oriented. We've established common performance metrics for 24 different education and workforce programs, ranging from high school, career and technical education, to all the programs that serve adults seeking work, including programs serving senior citizens to retool and get a few more years of employment. I could say much, much more, but I see that Commissioner Newby is here and we're running short on time. So let me end just with another thank you. I do want to say I spent, prior to this position, I was in the community college system for 8 years, and prior to that I was at Thomas Nelson. But my very first professional job was at Paul DeCamp Community College. That's where I got my start. So thank you, President. And in all that time, this is the first time I've been back to Suffolk, where I taught my very first class, freshman English, as a not quite out of graduate school student. And it's brought back a lot of memories to be with you all. Thank you so much again for the work you do. God bless you. And let's keep charging hard for the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Ms. Kramer. Well, I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy that? Yes. She could have kept on talking, really. Giving some good information, inspiring, right? Do you see why she is just my workforce queen? And we have a surprise visit. Not a surprise visit, but Mr. Newby, Commissioner of Veteran Services, is here. He's going to come and greet us real quick, and we'll go on to the next step. Is that okay? Give him a hand as they come.
Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? Good morning. And I'm so pleased to be following the workforce queen this morning. I'm going to remember that when we get back to the offices. So I am John Newby. I see a few familiar faces in here. I'm the state's Director of Veteran Services for the governor. And I was asked to come by Mr. Brunson, by Mr. Brunson to just give you a few words from what I see and where I sit as far as veterans, and to thank you for what you're doing and continue to do, hopefully another couple more decades, right, for all of the citizens of Suffolk, but particularly for those who have served in uniform and are looking for that next opportunity. My father was in the Army for 30 years, and just a little bit of a personal note, he got out of the Army in 1992 after 30 years of service, retired E9, and I was in college at the time, and it took him a couple years to find a job. And I've never forgotten that. I was a freshman, sophomore in college, and here was this guy, my hero. Every weekend I was shining his boots and being so proud of him as he goes off and does his thing as a sergeant major, to see this proud individual, lots of skills, lots of talent. He has led men and women for years, come out the door and can't get a job. Organizations like this help people, all people, but for me in particular, it's very important for what you do for folks who have served. And there are many of us in this area who have served. And I say us because I'm actually from the Suffolk area. My mom was born in Suffolk and grew up in Windsor. My dad was born and raised in Isle of Wight County, right next door. So this whole area has a personal feeling for me, but even more so because of the work that you guys continue to do for these residents and our veterans particularly. Elizabeth and I work hand in hand at the state level for veterans workforce and employment efforts. And it's always great when we have local partners who are out here on the front lines doing this, because this is where the rubber meets the road, right? Elizabeth and I could sit up in Richmond and come up with all the great ideas in the world and try to help you, but at the end of the day, it's you. I mean, that's where how things really happen. So I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. Anything you need from me, from where I sit, particularly to help veterans and all your residents, but particularly veterans, let me know. We have been given guidance by our boss, Governor McAuliffe, to be open-minded about all new ideas, all new possibilities. The first answer should not be no. It should be yes, maybe, or yes, however, or yeah. But somewhere in there we should be saying yes, right? The word yes should be part of our vocabulary. It should be the primary word in vocabulary. So I'm just happy to be here to say thank you. I'm going to hang out for a little while and hopefully have some time at the end of this to take some hopefully personal questions or requests of me of how I can help team with you to help our veterans in this area. So personally, I say thank you, because my job and what I do here for the Commonwealth, it's a personal thing for me, and I really thank you for doing what you do. It's as simple as that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Newby. I would also like to say that my father is a disabled veteran, and he also served in civil service for 30 years. He now has Parkinson's and cannot function, like the rest of us now. He worked civil service for 35 years on top of his service performance. But I also say that workforce is important to me again because my mother was a teenage mother. She had me when she was 17. She had my brother when she was 15. And they have been married for about almost 60 years now. I'm not quite 60 yet, but just to with those two lives together, and just if you would had that opportunity to hear my story, you can understand why I'm driven with passion to help someone else. My parents to see me get a couple degrees. I have a son that travels the world at 22. He's a musician. I have a daughter that's the director of human resources for a very large major company. I have a son who I thought was going to go to prison, but he owns his own nonprofit agency helping youth, and his program has become a role model for the state of Indiana. I have another son that served 13 years in the military, 4 tours to Iraq. So when I talk about workforce, it hits home for me because
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
when I come to work for real. I travel 3 hours a day to be here. But my story is no different from yours out there because I've met some people in this room that do the same thing that I do in a different way. We just want to help people. Is that right? Yeah. And literally, I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for a couple of people in this room. One, of course, we're thanking the City Council and the fantastic leadership of the City of Suffolk. Strong, fiscally responsible, taking care of their citizens and those that are around. But we also want to thank Michelle Lectara and Mr. Leonard Horton, whom I have not met. And at this time, we'd like to call up Debbie George, Chief of Staff for the City of Suffolk. And without further ado, she'll come in and do some honors for us.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Debbie George, and on behalf of Patrick Roberts, our city manager, I appreciate you all being here today. I know I was given a very specific task, a very short amount of time, and I was told to stay on task, so I'm almost going to do that. I would be remiss if I didn't thank you all, Elizabeth and Larry and John, for sharing your personal stories, because I think we could get up here and talk about programs all day long. But as a mother to 2 young adult males, I think what y'all brought to the table and really breaking down what the center is about for all of us really is touching and talks to people's hearts, and I appreciate your willingness to share that. Okay, I'm back on track, Larry, I promise. We talked about the center being 10 years old, and we really appreciate the city council, the mayor, and everyone for the support that they've given us and the vision, and also the funding. Let's not forget the funding, because we do appreciate that. But you can have all those things all day long, and unless you have a plan and you have the people that are willing to work that plan day in and day out with boots on the ground, you have nothing. And there were 2 people here back in the very beginning that are no longer with us. They're in the room. They didn't pass away or anything, okay? They are no longer with us. They have retired. But the center would not be what it is today, and we would be remiss if we did not recognize those people. And I'm very excited to ask them to come up today. Michelle Lactera. Michelle, thank you so much. Would you like to say a few words?
The only thing I will say is that 10 years ago, when this was a vision, it was my job to prove that there was a need in Suffolk for a workforce center. And with the help of everybody here, we created a perfect storm. And it's been very successful, and we've helped a lot of people, and it's very rewarding. And to me, it's home. So I want to thank everybody. Thank you.
And before I leave, when we found out that Michelle was going to retire and move on, I and Aziz came and told me this. I was like, how in the world are we going to replace Michelle? You know, it's very hard when you have someone that was with a program that started from the beginning and has that energy and that passion. So when Z told me that Michelle was retiring, I was a little upset that we were going to lose her. But then he brought me Larry. And Larry, I just wanted to take a moment and give you a round of applause for, you really hit the ground running, and we appreciate everything that you're doing, and we know that you're taking this program to another level.
Well, thank you, Debbie George, for those kind remarks. And certainly I want to thank Michelle personally myself, because I'm not trying to get emotional again, number one. But it's the work that has begun here is important work. And I know that I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for you and your staff. And I'd like for the staff that's present now to kind of come forward a little bit, Amy and Nina, because we're doing a lot of work with hardly no people. Where some other agencies may have 5, 7, 12, 40. We have 2 and myself. And we could not do this job and carry on the work that Ms. Lecterra has begun without our partners. So we want to thank our partners also. We want to thank them because when we get in a tight squeeze, all hands on deck. So ARP will come up front, or Opportunity will come up front, and whoever is in the building will come up front to serve the customers. And that's what it's all about. And I also want to talk about the fact that these 2 ladies, I guess when I first came, I was very regimented. I was like, but I've grown on them, they've grown on me. I can't do the work without them. They fill in the gaps in so many ways. Even sometimes when I'm thinking about something, after I've talked to them so much, they kind of know what I want, they just go ahead and get it done. Recently, because we're still on the path to become certified one day, real soon. Hi, Sean. I began to put things in process so we can make that happen. And one of the requirements is that we have to have our staff certified with a workforce credential. And I will say that we have met that requirement. These ladies have worked hard to receive what they are receiving, and I was in the process as well, so give them a hand for that. And I guess one of the things the main thing I really want to say, I want to leave in your mind is a couple things. One is, Suffolk is sure. Suffolk is strong. Suffolk is moving forward. This workforce center is moving forward. Michelle has broken some barriers. The new leadership, or the continued leadership, which includes myself, my direct support, Mr. Harry Kramer, who very seldom says anything, but hey, Mr. Kramer. Our own director, Mr. Felder, and of course our employment specialist, Danielle Williams, and where is Miss Royster? Miss Royster has a class. She's our job readiness coordinator. We're moving forward, and some barriers have been broken, and we're going to move forward and break some more barriers. So if I've received a name recently, and they kind of call me rogue. I'm not rogue. I'm just passionate, and I believe what I see. And it's okay for you to come and tell me that I'm rogue, or to maybe go in a different direction. But I have to prove that point first. We want to serve people. We believe that we're going to get there. We have some great partners. I want to thank Norfolk State University. We are now, they have a job readiness program that they contract with the social services on their end. And so we do all of their ACT proctoring for the CRC. And every person that's come through our ranks so far, which has been about 25, we've just started the process, all have obtained at least bronze, but most of them have obtained silver and gold. So they're on their way. And again, I just want to leave these final words with you again. Suffolk is sure. Suffolk is strong. Suffolk will break barriers. Suffolk will go into new territories, and so will the Workforce Center. Now, I know that Michelle made a way for me to have it by leaving, but there's one person in the room that his signature had to go on the line in order for me to step into the place. And that's Mr. Aziz Felder, Director of Suffolk Department of Social Services. He's coming to have final remarks, and by all means, make sure you take this food with you before you leave.
Good morning, everyone. Vanessa said earlier that it's a great time to be in Virginia. My catchphrase is, it's always a great time to be in Suffolk. And it is. And we have already heard from a number of great distinguished speakers on this morning, so I will not belabor the issue. And unless I run the risk of being pedestrian in my comments, I just want to thank each and every one of you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, for your participation in the achievement of this milestone. Citizens, community partners, volunteers, our educators and institutions of higher learning, local businesses and employers, Honorable Mayor Johnson, council members, city manager, state officials, city leaders, Suffolk Redevelopment and Housing Authority, who's in the building this morning, media and community relations, thank you so much, economic development, capital programs and buildings, social services, finance, Mr. Cross, our landlord, and of course, all of our special guests. And what special thank you to the catering place, Subway, Panera Bread. Usually they say don't mention names because you'll forget somebody, but I think I've encompassed everybody by saying community partners in all local businesses. And in closing, let me just leave you with this one thought. The commemoration of this 10-year milestone and the growth of this center can only occur when a city is connected to and concerned about its communities and makes a commitment to collaborate with community partners for the success and achievement of all its citizens. I know that had a lot of alliteration in it, so I'm going to say it one more time. The commemoration of this 10-year milestone and the growth of this center can only occur when a city is connected to and concerned about its communities and makes a commitment to collaborate with community partners for the success and achievement of all its citizens. Thank you, thank you all for a great event. We look forward to another 10, 20, 30 years. Enjoy the delicious cake with the city logo on it. And enjoy yourselves. Give yourselves a round of applause. And thank you for coming out.
I know we're breaking and we are half adjourned, but this young lady, Gloria, we have some success stories on our wall. So you know that we're not making this up. She's one of our success stories, coming as a referral from AARP, and she's now successfully employed. And you're welcome to look at our featured wall with some of the people on out front. All right. Thank you.